And we're live. Welcome to another Thursday edition of Tint Wizdom. Tint Wizdom plus a guest on Thursday. And today I have Marissa Ashley from ExoShield. Welcome, Marissa.
Thank you for having me. I'm so excited.
Cool. So, again, thank you for coming on today. I have a lot of questions for you. And, you stood out to me in the window film revolution group, especially some of your posts. So I have a lot of questions about you, about the culture of the company you work for, which is ExoShield. And then I'm sure we're going to have some questions in the comments as well. So to get started, why don't we start with who you are, where you started, how you made your way into the window film industry?
Oh boy. Okay. So, my name is Marissa. Right now, I'm the USA Partner Success and Sales Manager for ExoShield. So I manage the entire USA, everything from the initial conversation and sale to the partner success management after that. Where I came from. So I have a very interesting background. I've been in sales now, or sales management, for almost 8 years. I had a brief stint in there where I was a surgical dental assistant. Okay. So I went to school for dental assisting and I worked in surgery. So everything from regular dentistry all the way up into like implants. So that was really cool. But my passion has always been with sales and primarily like teaching it. I really love teaching it. So I worked with a few different cell phone companies for about five or 6 years. I did everything in there from rep to management. And then I found ExoShield, so ExoShield is our product, Alchemy is our company, but we just go by ExoShield because it's a little bit easier when you're talking about the specific product. So it'll be 2 years in January, this coming January. I saw a job posting. I wanted to get out of cell phones because, I loved it, but I kind of just needed another challenge. And I really like cars. So I just saw a job posting, applied for it. It was really funny. My CEO, I got the notification that he checked my application and I emailed him right away saying what times I was available for an interview. So I've been on this crazy journey with Alchemy now for 2 years. I love it. I always tell people, like, when I'm talking about ExoShield, we'll get more into it, but it's not a super easy film to install. So I always tell people, like, if I can do it, anybody can do it, because that's not my background by any means. It's been, I can honestly say, like, I think the thing I love the most about not only Alchemy and ExoShield, but this industry is there's never a day that I wake up that I'm not excited about what I do. There's some times where obviously, it's a little overwhelming or it was a lot to learn and I still have so much to learn. I'm learning every day. But I think like the industry as a whole has a great culture around it too. And that's something that I've really felt like it's like I feel at home. I've done a few things, so I really I think this is it for me.
So I guess for everybody who doesn't know what ExoShield is,
yes,
tell us a little more just about the product.
Perfect. So ExoShield is a thin, flexible film that's placed on the outside of the windshield to protect it from rock chips or breaking. So think of it kind of like a screen protector for the windshield. The reason why it's so important is because, many of the people that are watching this probably know because you're in the industry, but for the people that aren't in the industry, windshields now have sensors and cameras that are placed behind or around them that not only are very difficult to recalibrate once the windshield is replaced, but because of that recalibration that's required, it's very expensive to do. So part of the reason why we developed this film is because not only do we want to obviously reduce the cost associated with windshield replacement, but those sensors and cameras are designed, they're made as safety systems. So if those cameras and sensors don't work properly, it could potentially be catastrophic.
Right. So it's not something you want to mess with necessarily. There is a cost, even if, in the
for sure. And there are many, and we have some in our network. Like there are many very reputable, very very awesome glass replacement or glass installers or glass replacement personnel that do a really awesome job, and they bring a lot of I guess peace of mind to me, and then a lot of value to not only the industry but to consumers. But the realism of it is you can't get back that factory calibrated OEM windshield ever, right? So that's what we're working on, and that's what our goal is to protect all factory calibrated OEM windshields.
Got it. Okay. Yeah, one of the things that stood out to me that, I wanted to ask you about was really, the last time I looked into a product like this was years ago, and some of the common responses I got when I asked people about it was, it's hard to install, which we'll cover. And then, it's not that expensive to replace a windshield in general, but like you said, that's completely changed. Just in a few short years, the cost to replace a windshield has completely changed.
Yeah, like something that this blew my mind, especially working with ExoShield at the beginning. But okay, so set the scene. You are buying a Toyota Corolla. It's a great car, super reliable, great company. You've saved up your pennies for it, and you got a really sweet deal on it. And you drive it off the lot. Maybe let's say, I'm in Canadian, but let's say 20,000 MSRP with everything. Mm-hmm. And you're driving on the highway, and you get a rock flies up, it hits your windshield, it breaks it. Mm-hmm. And your $20,000 car, let's say back in 2014, the windshield was maybe, you could get it OEM replaced for maybe $300 or $400, yep. Maybe a little bit more than that. Now, the Toyota Corolla windshield for the 2019-2020, if we're looking in Canadian, we're anywhere from $1,100 to $1,600 for a replacement. Wow. So now your $20,000 entry level, base model car, it's awesome that it comes with these safety features because, like I said, they're very important. They do a fantastic job at reducing accidents and keeping people safe. But now you're kind of looking at a bill that's maybe 5%, 6%, sometimes more of the total cost of your vehicle. That's crazy.
Absolutely.
Right? Like, so.
Especially in areas where rock chips are common,
Oh, for sure.
You can't just have that happening 100%. On the way to work any few months, a couple times a year.
Yeah, for sure. It's not just, although luxury exotic supercar, that's obviously very popular. For us, it's like our bread and butter. Everybody can benefit from a windshield protection film, especially with newer age vehicles.
Got it. Okay. So we'll jump around a little bit. One of the first questions in here, it kind of relates to, it's not really about the product, but it does relate to one of the reasons I wanted to have you on was, what caught my attention with you especially was you have an abundance of positivity within the window film groups. You're extra positive. There's quotes being posted daily. And, I want to discuss that more with you and how it, and my question for you is, is that something that you've always brought along with you from job to job, or is that also something that's kind of ingrained in the culture at ExoShield? And then the question that was asked, and we can throw that in too, was by Marco in the comments, and he said, when you're having a bad day, how do you push forward to be successful in that day? So I feel like it all comes together, and I'd love to hear your answer.
Yes. Okay, cool. So I'm like a force. I'm always very, when it comes to work and in life in general, everybody has bad days, but I really, really try to be, as positive and upbeat as I can be. I'm known to be the morning person. I'm always very bubbly. I think I've been like that in every job that I've worked in because every path I've taken, whether that had been cell phone sales, which cell phones make people really angry, dental, which is obviously a very sensitive placement, and then ExoShield, it's there's all different scenarios that I'm in or I have been in every day that I've needed to kind of bring a little bit of light where I go. So I think it's also about how I was raised. Like my mom is a very like happy and bubbly person. My dad is super funny. Like he's always the person at the party that everybody's like around and laughing with. So I think it's kind of like ingrained in me, but like working with ExoShield and Alchemy is something I've never experienced. Like we're like a family. Every time we go in, there's not one person that I work with at any given time or that any of us work with that we don't love seeing. We really focus on culture. We're doing something like we've innovated a product that has been very hard to innovate, and we've been able to make something that, you know, is like we smash optical clarity, we smash like the overall durability of the film. And the only reason why we've been able to do that is because we truly play on the same playing field. There's not one of us that like, we never talk down to each other. It's like, it's kind of an all over the place response, but it's like, it's honestly like going into work every day and like completely crushing it and just like building something so amazing with your best friends. It's awesome. I've learned a lot from everybody that I work with. Actually, something that's really cool is my two co-founders, so Kanjin and Chung, were just named on Forbes 30 Under 30 for manufacturing and industry. And that is not only is that a super crazy thing for us to achieve, but like to achieve that in our space is like mind-blowing.
And under 30.
Yeah,
30.
exactly.
As somebody that's over 30, I know what the first 30 years are like. So they go by quick.
Yeah, exactly. So it's I work with very intelligent people that are very passionate about what they do. And I know like it's only going to continue to get better and better. Everybody, even like the co-op students that we have, because we're engineering and nanotechnology, right? Okay. So even the co-op students that we have blow my mind every day. Like they're so smart, and they're so like inspiring. That's a really good word for it. I think ExoShield and like Alchemy, it's inspiring to do what I do and work with the people that I do.
So obviously then that, you know, translates like the same way it translates from the people that you work with to you, that trickles down to the dealers that you interact with on a daily or weekly or monthly basis. That was another thing that stood out to me was kind of the banter between you and some of your dealers, the positive banter, you know, in comments of posts. So, so yeah, I mean, tell us more, you know, everybody's had a film sales rep at one point or another. Tell us, I guess, give us more of an idea of what people could expect when they're working with you as you cover the entire US, yeah?
Yeah. I'm just going to quickly go back to Marco's comment because I totally forgot to answer it.
Okay.
So what do I do when I'm having a bad day and how do I push through? So this is like totally easier said than done. I know I've managed and led people and coached people and developed people before. I am 100% one of those people that I kind of have a hard time sometimes pulling myself out of like funks. That kind of goes back to like the working with Alchemy and ExoShield. There's some really cool people that I work with who I hope are watching that really kind of like know how to like calm me down and like bring me back to a place where I'm like, no, I've got this. I do a lot of just like, you know, taking breaks. Like if you need to take a break and walk away, it's like that's it, right? I used to tell my reps whenever, like, when I worked in cell phones, I used to tell them, like, let's say they had a really tough customer, and I know that, I mean, we're working in, I'm at the B2B, right? So they're like, anybody in this industry is business to consumer. So from the business to business side, I can tell you, you know, I mean, business to business is so different, but like looking back on the business to consumer side, again, I would just say, you know what, like that was tough. Maybe they had a customer get mad at them. That's probably what happens the most is they had a customer yell at them. And I was like, man, like just take a walk, take a breather, listen to a song you really like. Sometimes I used to do the, during like busy season or when something really, you know, I could just tell that they're kind of in a funk. I would put music on and do like a 30-second dance party, which was kind of funny in the middle of a mall sometimes.
It's a good way to let
But
go
it's
of
just,
whatever you're holding on to, change
yeah,
the
it's
focus.
just about, I truly believe that there are, there's a time and a place to be upset. And I don't want to ever tell somebody to not feel like the things that they're feeling, because most of the time they're valid. Like, that's why we have them, right?
Mm-hmm.
But there's like this quote that it's like, you have so many, I don't remember it exactly, but it's like, you have so many seconds and minutes in a day. Are you going to let this one thing that happened for 1 minute destroy your whole day? Or are you going to, think about the things that did happen that day that were really good? So it's kind of it. Like, there are some days that are really bad, and I come home and I see my dog and I'm like, that was a crappy day. Right. Mm-hmm. But, it's important, especially, also as business owners. I think it's important to realize that, you guys are crushing it. You're working in an industry that, is like, at no point is anything that you do every day easy. Applying film, coatings, detailing, if you're doing auto body repair, that's hard. Paint correction, there's so many things that you do on a daily basis that require not only a lot of talent, but a lot of patience, lots of training, learning. And I think everybody should just take a step back and be like, I'm awesome. I can do these really cool things that other people can't do. And I bring value to not only the industry, but I bring value to my consumers.
Sure.
And then shameless plug, sometimes I just read Google reviews about me or the company, or,
I like that. I like that. You have to remind yourself. You made 10 people happy that day. If the 11th one wasn't happy because they were having a bad day, that can't define you.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's again, I think that you should not take things personally. I've had people scream at me and throw their phones at me and smash them on the ground and throw phone bills at me and stuff. And I don't really have an example for this career because everybody's really nice and amazing. But
you might get an old blade thrown your way one day. Hopefully not.
Oh no! Please don't.
No ideas.
I burn and cut myself enough, and I'm good. But no, it's just you just gotta smile through it. Kill them with kindness. Mm-hmm. Smile through it. And just parties. Like what I said, dance parties. Yeah, I got that idea from Grey's Anatomy. That show is it's a roller coaster, but I really loved when they did this 30-second dance party in the middle of a surgery. Obviously a surgery because it's TV, but I just loved it. So I used to do that all the time. It was fun.
Nice.
So the next question was kind of about just what a sales rep does every day.
No, not what a sales rep does. What is a daily or what is the type of interaction people can expect from you? What type of support you provide or not provide? Ooh. Some sales reppies are calling and showing up all the time. Some want to sell you stuff. Some want to help you. I mean, there's all sorts of things. So what's the deal with you?
Cool. So I'm based in Ontario, Canada. We're a Canadian company. So not a whole lot of travel right now. How we support. So this is something the whole partner success program is still something we're learning and innovating and building out. From me specifically, you can expect, you can reach me pretty much at any time. If I don't answer my phone, I'm either sleeping, I'm with my family, or even then sometimes I'll answer it, or I'm just not at my phone, but I'm pretty easy to get a hold of. I think the longest time it really takes me to get back to somebody is 12 hours. I will always offer support or advice related to ExoShield for sure. I will try my best to offer support and advice related to anything else. I can't really help you too much. There are people way smarter than I am when it comes to other products, or way more, I guess, knowledgeable about them.
But what type of support issues, I guess, or questions come up? Is it typically with installation or sales, or is it just not really anything? I mean, I don't know.
Lots of installation questions, which everybody on the sales team at ExoShield can install the film, and then most of our product team can as well. Because we have to be able to install the product to be able to not only help you, but really understand what our partners go through on a daily basis.
So how long does it typically take a tinter, from your experience, just on an average, to learn how to shape
Okay.
ExoShield, if they already know how to tint windows?
So, like, I guess I'll talk about the differences first between installing ExoShield and installing Tint. So, number one difference that some people have been able to do it, I can't, and our trainers don't recommend it. Dry shrinking doesn't work very well. It's a 5 mil film, so wet shrink works much better. So it's wet shrink. You're going to be using a heat gun, temperature around 1,000 degrees Fahrenheit. A couple that we really like, really cheap Black & Decker ones, the Porter Cable or Wagner, all of them get up to the high heat, and they also blow through a lot of air. Obviously, when you're working with something that's like very high heat, you want to kind of disperse the heat as much as possible. And then I think the other difference would be, and I don't know if this is the same for everybody, but what we recommend is tacking. So horizontal tack, you can do an H pattern, that's fine. But what we do is working middle out. I usually suggest doing the top because it's the hardest part, and then doing the bottom after. You can do it vice versa, but it's ideal to do the whole top and then the whole bottom. So how long it takes, like, we have a really awesome training program that we've set up. We've partnered up with some of the best trainers in the country, so that's really cool. It really depends on the I guess not even the skill level, because you could be amazing at tinting windows. I think it's about how you understand film, and then the patience level that you have at the beginning. But we have, like I said, we're building out a really cool training program. We're building out a whole online training modules program, which is really awesome.
But do you see typically like in a day, if somebody was to a week, a month, like where do you see people becoming proficient to where like no problem?
Okay, yeah, I would say anywhere from, like, so if they do a training session with us, sessions are 2 days. By the end of the second day, anybody that has film experience, and even people that don't have film experience, have been able to pick it up and do, like basic windshields like BMWs and Audis, which are a lot more flat. The self-taught method, or just kind of like getting faster at it, I would say a month. I think a month is a good benchmark. If you can do it faster than that, that's amazing. If it takes you a little bit longer, whatever, like no problem. People in this industry are perfectionists, so I get it.
Sure. So you mentioned training facilities. Are those, I guess, throughout the United States? Are they other shops you've partnered with? Or tell us more, like how does that training facility work? Like, what do you do?
Cool. Yeah, so we have partnered with some shops throughout the network. Everything is kind of getting finalized in the next few days, next week or so. And it will be fully ready to launch in January. Originally, we had a training center in Ontario, one in Calgary. Ontario, Alberta, Calgary is the city. Those are in Canada. And then we had one in California and one in Vegas. Okay. We're going to be expanding into a few different other states. They are shops that carry our film right now that have had, they're really good at installing it. They're also have demonstrated that they're going to be good at teaching it, which teaching something and installing something are two different things.
Sure.
So I think there are a couple other, and again, I've only been in the industry for 2 years, but I think there are a few other brands in the industry that kind of do that, where they partner with shops that carry their film that do a really good job. They get them kind of onboarded into the way that they train the product, and then people can go there for training, as opposed to us asking everybody to come up to Canada, which you are totally always welcome to come and visit. It's more feasible and more cost effective to our partners for them to be able to travel within the US. Also within Canada, like we have training centers here still too, but we just wanted to make it as easy as possible for people to take advantage of such a great program.
Got it. And with that said, like you feel like if you're a skilled tinter, you're looking to add this to the mix. If you shrunk difficult ceramics in the past, you probably could figure it out on your own with practice, would you say? Yeah. And like we're always available to help too.
What I tell people when they first come on board with us, if they're not doing a training session, or if, you know, they want to try it out by themselves first before you're doing a training session, I always tell them, like, the first time that you install this film, I want to have a conversation with either yourself or whoever's installing it so I can set you up for success. So, like, if that's a video call where I'm looking at, like, how you've set yourself up, how you're shrinking, if that's a regular phone call, anything like that. But I find it's the most effective if it happens like right before the install. And then, I mean, I've sat on the phone for like a video call for like an hour and before, just trying to help. So, yeah, and that's another thing that you can expect from us. We're not going to just leave you with this. We're trying really hard not to just leave you with this product you can't work with. Like, sure. We've definitely in the past maybe not had training that was that accessible, and that's something that's been a huge goal for us in the past 6 to 8 months, is like just really getting it going and really making sure that people are going to be able to get return on investment. Like, we don't want to just sell you a product that sits on your shelf, right?
Sure. So Philip actually asked in the comments, do you have online training? You mentioned that is something you're about to release. What's the time frame on that?
I'm not 100% sure on the time frame right now. I think we're hoping for the end of this fiscal quarter, which for us would be the end of February. Philip, if you are able to DM me, so send me a message on Facebook, then I'm going to be able to keep you posted on that.
Cool. And you mentioned return on investment. If we can jump into the numbers, I'd love to get an idea of like what would be a common, let's say not a very difficult car, somewhere like, you know, a shop would be starting. What would they expect to pay for the material to do that car? What is the time that is involved in that installation? And then what would an approximate retail be on that?
Cool. Okay. So my favorite starter car is a 3 Series BMW. Alternatively, like the Audi A4 or Mercedes C300. All of them have windshields that are not super difficult to work with. So they're not super curved, but they're not flat like a Jeep or a G-Wagon, which don't really need to be shrunk. And when you're first starting out, I think it makes sense to give yourself about anywhere from like, let's say 2 hours to do the full install. And that's with prep and everything. So prep, shrink, install, cleanup. The average retail cost in the US really varies because it depends on like the state that you're in, what kind of vehicle you're installing on. We usually see anywhere from, let's say, $375 for the easier cars up all the way until like $700 or $800 for harder cars like Tesla Model 3s, Corvettes, Ferraris. If it's like a boutique shop, so, you know, shops that really focus on like total protection services, they service like Corvettes, Ferraris, McLarens, Ford GTs, stuff like that. You might see a bit higher of a price because they're working with windshields that are much harder to work with. But yeah, I would say the range, again, it really varies anywhere from like $375 to $700 or $800. I always suggest to like the partners that come on board with us in the US at least to start anywhere from like $375 for the easier ones up to maybe like $450 for, you know, normal vehicles. Sorry, but definitely for like Tesla Model 3s, Corvettes, Ferraris, McLarens, I would say like the Aston Martin series, you should be charging for your time. It's going to take you some more time to do it.
So what is the expected approximate material cost on an installation like that?
Yeah, it's about $70 material cost.
Got it. Okay.
Yeah.
Got it. So $70, 2 to 3 hours, and that can be $400 to $800 or so on, and you know, and from there.
And that's at the beginning. Like most of our partners that install the film regularly are doing it in between 35 minutes up to maybe an hour now. And that's our goal. Like we really want people to be able to install on most vehicles in about an hour because we want it to be profitable for people, right? And I think working on any section for more than an hour would get a little frustrating.
So being it that it's protection against rock chips. Rock chips in new cars happen throughout the entire year. So I'm sure a lot of people are buying a car at the end of this year and they want to protect it. Doesn't matter if it's winter or not. So it seems like it's a great year-round product, especially for shops that want to keep busier in colder weather. Do you also see it like, do you know if typically customers are purchasing it as a standalone purchase or with tint or with like PPF? Because it feels like this is an extension of paint protection film. You're going to cover all the paint with the PPF, and then, hey, why not cover the windshields like you're saying with ExoShield, right? It's basically, feels like a PPF add-on.
Yeah, so it's definitely the easiest to sell as a PPF add-on. Kind of like my suggested pitch for that, or suggested, I don't like using the word pitch, but like suggested solution for the customer would be, we're already protecting the front of your car, partial, full, or full car, if we're talking about PPF. So we can do a full front for you or a full car. We're actually going to include the windshield in that. Because it's going to, and if people ask about why for the windshield, you can go into talking about sensors and cameras, why it's so important to protect them.
It costs more than the front bumper.
Yeah, exactly. Especially in some of the newer windshields, like the Ford GT windshield, that the Gorilla Glass one, I think is like $9,000 to replace. It's crazy. So, I mean, obviously it's Gorilla Glass, so it's supposed to be more resistant, and it is, but like McLaren's, for instance, I think the average windshield replacement with them is $11,000 last time I checked. BMWs are very expensive now. So it's definitely, like, from what I hear when shops call us and say, like, I'm interested in ExoShield, if a customer has asked for it, it's typically because they've either seen us online somewhere through like Obsessed Garage, which we were featured on, or through forums. They've experienced the problem, so they've experienced having to replace a windshield and how expensive it is, or they're the type of customer that has paint protection film and they're like, well, why am I not protecting my windshield, right? I think it's still something that is positionable and sellable as an add-on to like tint, coatings, anything like that. With tint, I think really focusing on the benefit, like the cost benefit, is important. In some states, if your windshield, let's say your windshield is not covered by insurance and you have your windshield tinted, you could potentially be paying out of pocket to retint the windshield if it breaks. Then we're looking at just cross-selling it. I mean, with any industry, selling something, you have to talk about it first. We've just recently released a whole bunch of marketing material, like pop material. We're currently working on an in-store demo, so like an actual not live demo, but you know what I mean, like something that shows the impact resistance of ExoShield. And there's some like videos and stuff that we've released as well. So I really think it comes down to customer education, right? And I mean, a lot of people don't know it exists yet, and if more people knew it existed, I can guarantee you that more people would purchase it, but that comes with any product, right?
Sure. As people damage their new windshields, it might be the first time they ever had to replace an expensive windshield. That builds the awareness, I would imagine.
Yeah. And in any industry, if you provide the solution to a problem immediately, you are a hero, period.
Right. When people are discovering it, like, hey, this just happened to me. How do I avoid it? They find there's a product for it, and it's good from there. So it's on the outside of your glass. There's obviously windshield wipers that are rubbing against that. How long can a customer expect this film to last? Are there any variables in that durability? What's the upkeep like, and so on?
Yeah. Okay. So the targeted lifespan of ExoShield is between 2 and 4 years. So obviously, there are, like you mentioned, there are factors to taking care of it. So number one is we only recommend touchless car washes. So only car washes that don't have brushes, for a few different reasons. So touch car washes have obviously brushes that can, I don't want to say that all car washes don't maintain their brushes, but
Right.
There are chances that there's a whole bunch of sand and stuff that's stuck in them and it runs across the windshield at a there's a lot of force behind it, is what I'm trying to say.
That's a common
Also, if I'm
recommendation
yeah,
in
exactly. I
general.
think it's the same for paint protection film
Sure.
and coatings. Another thing is, although most of the time people do a very good job installing the film, is a chance of the brush like maybe lifting a corner. We do have an incredible adhesive. Like our adhesive is very strong, removable but strong. But yeah, so we only recommend touch car washes. Kind of with that, we don't recommend pressure washing this film.
Sure.
So, I mean, like pressure washing at a distance where it's just rinsing it is different than going like this close to the film and trying to get a bug off it,
And
right?
the concern is an edge popping up, essentially?
For the pressure washing, it's just damage to the film in general.
Okay.
I think like the biggest issue that we've seen with a pressure wash very close is potential delamination, which I'll get into that a little bit later, but that's something that we've seen can cause delamination, which I guess we'll talk about it now. We are very close to having a solution to eliminate delamination. It's something that happens in any windshield film that you're trying to add a layer of, basically it's a two-layer thing. You're adding a hard coat to like a base layer of film, right? So polyester. So although right now we're saying things like touch car washes and pressure washing could cause delamination, we're working really hard and we're very close to having a solution for it. We're just kind of trying to figure out how to, work it into our processes in production.
Okay.
And then no ammonia-based glass cleaner. That's huge.
Common.
That's the same
Right.
in common and tint. And then just making sure that your wiper blades are, in good condition. So that doesn't mean that you have to change out your wiper blades every month. We have these really awesome care guides, actually. So they're I don't have one on me, unfortunately. I should have brought one, but it hangs just behind the mirror. So it has the first 48 hours of care instructions with ExoShield, and then you flip it over, and it has ongoing maintenance instructions. So that's like available. It goes in the car with every ExoShield installation, and it's really helpful to consumers. There's also more information on our website about how to take care of the film properly.
Okay.
I think the only other, like with wiper blades, what we would recommend is just wiping them down when they get really, when maybe you've like gone through a sandstorm or something, or, just a lot of dirt on the roads, just taking a microfiber cloth and wiping them down. But we understand that like not all consumers are going to do that.
Sure.
The hard coat that we have is very abrasion resistant. It's the most abrasion resistant hard coat in the market. So we've done a really good job at, we're really trying to build something for the everyday consumer. Like we don't only want people that garage their cars to get the advantage of having a windshield protection film. It's not realistic. The last thing, just because I'm Canadian and I'm looking out my window right now and there's snow everywhere, with ice scrapers, you can use them. You just need to make sure that you're using the side of the ice scraper that's like super smooth and flat. Some ice scrapers have like a jagged edge to kind of get at ice. So as long as you're using like an in good condition, flat tipped ice scraper, you're good. Again, if you want to know what kind of ice scraper, just let me know. I will show you. Yeah.
So Paul in the comments just wanted to mention, I guess Paul Ciceretti. He said,
Okay.
Marissa, finally have a customer for the film you sent me. John Deere tractor that needed a windshield replaced 3 times in less than a year. So that sounds like
Wow.
the perfect application.
Yeah, definitely. Oh my goodness.
And Justin said selling it to PPF customers would be cake. I mean, if anybody's interested in spending thousands of dollars on protecting the paint of their car, I can't imagine them not wanting to protect the thing that's in front of them, which is the windshield. So going back to like durability of the film and so on, just curious, like at that, let's say 2 to 4 year mark on a typical film that now needs to be replaced, I'm curious what is the customer going to see, hey, the film's going bad, it's been 3 or 4 years? Is the customer likely to experience delamination? Is it likely to get hazy? Is it likely to just fall off? And then what is that removal process like for a dealer to take the film off and then put on a new piece of film?
Cool. So the usable lifetime of ExoShield, so when it's at the end of its usable lifetime, it's purely and mostly an aesthetic thing. So some scratching might happen. I think the thing that we see the most or hear of the most is when a rock hits ExoShield hard enough that it would have broke the windshield or chipped it. It's not a self-healing film because it's a polyester base. So there will be a small, it looks like a watermark, like a small little watermark that shows up on the film. Over time, with enough rocks hitting it, it would be, ideal to replace it because it just doesn't look as nice. I haven't heard of any haziness. Like I said, delamination is something that we've had some problems or like some issues with, but we're a technology company, first off. This ExoShield is our only product, and it's the reason why we've been able to make something that is so that is so widely accepted, and the optical clarity, the durability in general is so awesome. Is because it's the only thing that we work on. We were about we've been, kind of trying to figure out a solution for delamination in general, because it's something that happens with all, like I mentioned, with all windshield film, and it's happened before in tint, is because we don't want that to be a problem. Like, we don't want people to experience a problem with our film.
Right.
So we were light years ahead of it, and have been developing a solution for a long time. And like I said, we're very close to having it fully fixed. But I will say we cover it in our warranty. We will always continue to cover it in our warranty. I think you can ask any partner that we have. We always back our warranty, like no ifs, ands, or buts. We don't argue it.
How long is the warranty? And what does it cover?
So it's 2 years or 30,000 miles, whichever comes first.
Okay.
It covers bubbling, delamination, peeling, discoloration, yellowing, and then like if the film itself cracks, which doesn't really happen. And we take care of the claims process as much as we can without having to bother the shop. We have a really awesome, I have a really awesome colleague. His name is Jake. He makes sure that it's taken care of. I think like the longest time it's taken us to process a claim is like 34 hours, like business hours. So we work really hard on making sure that the only way that we're really going to get the data from our product and be able to really understand how it holds up to different conditions is if people not only register the warranty, which is done online, but if people tell us if they're having problems. And I think like a common, reason why objection to telling us if they've had a warranty problem or just warranties in general is, I don't want to have to spend a whole bunch of time filling out paperwork. I don't want to have to take time out of my day to do that. I never get a response. Like, that's never what it's going to be like with us. Even if, we're crazy swamped and it's been super busy all day, at the end of the day, our partners come first. And not only that, but we realize that like, we're not selling to the person that is having this film installed. We're selling to the people that install the film. So not only do we need to make sure that you're taken care of, we also want your customer to be taken care of. So that's something else. Like, we really, 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 really encourage people to not only register their warranties, but please tell us if you have a problem at all times, please.
Got it. Okay. And on the website, I noticed there's some other, like, are there plans, I guess, to where like customers can get like windshield replacement plans, and like, are there other services around the product? And do the dealers interact with that, or how does that work?
Yeah, cool. So the first product that you're going to see is our glass protection warranty. So basically, it's an additional program that's available for purchase by the consumer that covers the glass if it chips or breaks while ExoShield is on it. Okay. So that's available for daily drivers. It's available at different increments, which I'm not going to get into the different increments because there's quite a few. Okay. But in the event that the windshield chips or breaks, we will either reimburse the repair or the replacement, including the ExoShield reinstallment. And then we also have ExoCare. So ExoCare is a wiper blade subscription program. It basically what happens is if the consumer opts in, we send one replacement set of wiper blades every 3 months. They're really nice wiper blade. That's for a year. So the price for the ExoCare is $80 and it lasts for the year. They're really nice wiper blades.
So they get 4 pairs of wiper blades?
Yes.
For $80?
Yeah.
Well, that's a good deal. And then does the dealers where they're purchasing that through, or they're buying it through you guys directly afterwards?
No, it's through our partners. So it's through our partners. And then we ship them out. We can ship them either to the shop or to the customer's house, whatever they prefer.
So is that a way that a dealer can make a couple extra bucks on the overall sale, or not so much?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah? Okay.
Yep. It's a way for them to, make some, just to add not only more value to the entire experience, but to also give a little bit more peace of mind to the customer. So, having that extra protection in some states and provinces is really helpful because insurance, you have to pay crazy deductibles, your premiums raised, stuff like that. And then the ExoCare, $80 for 4 sets of wiper blades, that's unheard of, and they're good quality. So
Robbie asked, that's awesome for $80. What type of blades are they? Are they a proprietary blade that you guys come up with, or is it a brand that people know, or how's that work?
No, so it's a brand that is commonly white labeled into other brands.
Okay.
It's when we tested dozens of wiper blades. It's the one that seemed to work the best with ExoShield. Not only just in terms of gliding across the surface, but they have different adapters to them, so they suit pretty much every type of vehicle. And they were at a cost that we could make it actually desirable. We didn't want to give Bosch wiper blades out because obviously that would be crazy expensive. And we want the maintenance and the upkeep of ExoShield and just the experience to be as painless as possible for the consumer and for the partner.
It makes sense to have the wiper blades, especially because nothing worse than wiper blades that don't glide over your windshield.
Oh, the worst for sure.
Worst. So, kind of circling back, you mentioned that ExoShield is currently the only product that you guys are offering. I'm correct, yeah? Mm-hmm. And obviously you're aggressively developing it and continuing to improve it and so on and build out the training and so on. Without potentially getting in any trouble, I'm curious, are there any other products that you guys are working on that are up and coming, or do you see the focus to continue to better ExoShield, but is there a product expansion that we should look out for, or what's that look like?
So I don't think, I don't know of anything else that's going to be into the aftermarket. This is something that, you could read about through the Forbes 30 under 30, but and many different articles that we've been featured in. But another project that we're working on that I can kind of give high level information is we're working on developing hard coats for autonomous vehicle sensors. So let's say that you're in stage 5 autonomous driving and you're driving, let's say you're in a Tesla. Stage 5 means you're completely, car's driving itself. You have no, you're doing nothing. You could text, eat your breakfast, whatever, paint your nails, whatever you want to do. Now, in the event that that sensor becomes blinded, which if you have a vehicle with sensors in it right now, it happens sometimes too. There's a bug on it. It's frosted over. It's dirty. They can stop working. But right now we're in a stage of driving, stage 1 and 2, where we can control things. So it's not so scary. You can if the sensor fails or whatever, you just correct it, put your hands on the wheel, we're good. But if you're in stage 5 autonomous driving and a sensor becomes blinded or it breaks or it becomes frosted or whatever, it could be life-threatening. So we're working on developing coatings that that make it so those sensors don't have issues.
Got it.
That's the information I can give on it. But I think it really just brings us back to the fact that we're a nano coatings company. We're not a film company that made another film. We're a nano coatings company that made this awesome hard coat and then integrated it into this film. And I think that's why we've been able to make something that is just so awesome.
That makes sense, and it speaks to, like you said, you're a technology company, and if you're able to protect sensors, I feel like a windshield, it puts it into perspective. It's easy compared to that level sensor.
Yeah.
Okay. So Robbie also asked in the comments, what about products on the ExoShield like Rain-X, Aquapel? No, it hasn't been asked. He said, sorry if it's been asked already. But yeah, what about those products? Have you seen like Ceramic Pro? Obviously, I imagine somebody's put Ceramic Pro coating on ExoShield by now, I guess, whether you know about it or not.
Sure.
How do the coatings work together or not so much?
So this is a project that we're actually in the middle of right now as well, is finding just like testing different coatings and stuff to see how they work. I know that Rain-X and Aquapel don't work. It's not that they don't work; they're great products, but when they're applied to or they're on ExoShield, they just kind of they don't really. They sometimes kind of can look a little like cloudy, and it's momentary. Like it's not all the time. It doesn't damage the film. It just doesn't look that nice. I think like the thing with coatings is like it's not just bonding to a film, it's bonding to a hard coat on top of a film. So yeah, we're in the middle of that project finding coatings that work, because obviously when you everybody loves that, like I guess Instagram, but that water beading effect that you can get from so many coatings on the windshield. And we want people to be able to experience that. ExoShield has some hydrophobicity to it, but we want it to be able to last longer, right? So that's what we're working on. Excuse me. That's what we're working on right now. We'll have some updates as soon as we know.
Can it be installed on plexiglass without like off-gassing issues?
Yeah.
No
Yep.
issues.
We were so like Lexan, right?
Yep.
No problem. We're installed on a lot of it.
Okay. And then, other than windshields of cars, is there any other glass applications, interesting glass applications you've seen this being used for, whether it be on like commercial residential flat glass or like back windows of cars or sunroofs, or like, is there, have you seen it going anywhere else?
Yeah. So sunroofs, yeah, that's pretty regular, especially on the Teslas and like the new Mercedes. One gentleman put it on all of the windows of his car because he was a storm chaser to protect it from hail. That was pretty cool. We recently had a partner that applied it to jewelry store cases because they wanted something to protect them from scratching, but they wanted something that was like really optically clear because you're looking down at, jewelry. So that was pretty cool.
That's a great solution instead of using anti-graffiti film, which isn't necessarily the clearest film in the world.
Yeah, it was pretty cool. I think everything has their like time and place, obviously, right? Like if you're looking at like giant windows of a storefront, then there are amazing films on the market for security and protection there. People have used it for anti-graffiti before. Can't really think of anything else. I put it onto a phone screen once, but the adhesive is really strong, so I couldn't get it off.
Okay.
Removal. I didn't touch on that. Steaming it off. I wouldn't recommend trying to pull it off without a steamer. Like I said, the adhesive's pretty strong. Steaming it off, and then if there's any like residue left behind, which most of the time it comes off with the film, if there's any residue left behind, just using alcohol and water, like 91% IPA, like let's say a 30% IPA with 70% water mix, it'll help lift the adhesive.
Okay. And David asked, can it be layered? So I guess, could you layer it, for additional protection against rocks?
I mean, it's not something we've tried. I don't think you can, just because the adhesive is so strong. It's not something that can just be teared away, like racing tear-offs. Yeah, I mean, I'll try it. People have asked about it. I don't think it's going to work.
Okay. So I guess something that just stood out to me, I just want to make sure everybody caught this. You mentioned that Tesla sunroofs are very popular. So, you know, obviously like Teslas are super popular for PPF. Selling somebody PPF basically for their windshield seems like a common, obvious one. And if they're buying their windshield, how are they going to skip their sunroof? Because that does get hit with rocks when they're on the road as well.
Oh, yeah. For sure. It's just like Teslas are tough to install windshield film onto. Like the Tesla Model 3 is the hardest car for sure.
The X or the 3?
The 3. So the X is tough, but the actual like shrinking the Model X isn't as hard on the actual windshield as the Model 3, because the Model 3 is very curved, like very big and very curved. It would obviously have to be a two-piece installation. So ExoShield comes in 48 inches top to bottom and 100 feet long for the rolls. So it would have to be seamed. This film seams really well, so that's awesome. I don't think I would want to use a 72-inch piece of film, like windshield film, from like a windshield up to a sunroof. That would be a lot. It would be very hard to do.
Right.
But yeah, we have quite a few of our partners that have installed on the Tesla sunroofs, and they do it regularly, and customers are really happy.
Where does the film ship from? Meaning, like, does it come if a shop orders their inventory? What typically is the turnaround? Does it come from Canada? Do you have distributors in the U.S.?
Cool. So everything in North America is handled direct. So we do all of the shipping, processing, sales management, everything like that. For Canada, we ship out of Ontario. The longest I've seen it take is 5 business days to get to British Columbia, which is like on the other side of Canada. For the US, we ship out of a facility in Indiana. It takes anywhere from 1 business day to 5 business days, and that's just like on the opposite side of the country, deep south of California, or right up at the top, might take a little bit of extra time. But usually it's typically, I would say the average is 3 to 4 business days for turnaround.
Got it. Cool. Well, I mean, you thoroughly answered all my questions. I feel like, it's definitely a great product, and it sounds like just such an obvious upsell. We're always talking about different things that people can add to their lineup, how they can set themselves apart, how they can increase their average ticket, how they can stand out from the guy who's selling 99 tint jobs, how they can install in the weather, and this feels like it meets absolutely all of those that checklist.
Yeah, I mean, especially in provinces and states that use like gravel and sand on the roads in the winter. I mean, if they're not using gravel and sand in the winter, then they're in the sunshine states, which have a lot of, dirt and sand and stuff anyways. So, I mean, windshields break all year round, right?
Yeah.
So
Yep.
It truly is an all year round product. And really when it comes down to it, like, we're saving people money, we're saving people time, we're saving people headaches. Like, there's so many benefits to it that really, to me, it's a no-brainer. But I mean, maybe I'm biased, but the partners that we
I'm not biased, just to be clear.
Yeah, the partners that we have, in our network, and I think we're over 300 now in North America, and we're in 15 different countries now. The partners that we have, they sell it all year round. So it's obviously an all year round product.
So for people wanting to become a dealer and are not one of the 300 already in the U.S., give us an idea more about like how you handle territories, or do you get like a radius, or just how does that work?
Yeah, so so first off, to become a partner with us, if you go onto our website, which is getexoshield.com, there's a partner application form that you can fill out. I will return any inquiries within 24 business hours. I'm usually way faster than that. So that's step number 1. So radius and territory. So we don't offer exclusive territory, but we won't oversaturate the market. So I work like in the US, and then my colleague at Tinder in Canada, we work really hard to make sure that we're creating like a balance. Obviously, if we put a shop right next door to you, you're just going to be not only like, I want to say undercutting each other, but it's just going to create a war, right? So, we look at things like population, median income, current, demand in that area from consumers. Sometimes we've had shops before that have been in areas where they've just been really busy. They've had a lot of ExoShield installs, and also on top of all the other services they offer. And they've just said like, hey, I've actually got a friend that's in the same city that we work really well together. I was wondering if he could become an ExoShield installer so we can satisfy all these customers. Because if a customer has to wait 5 or 6 weeks for a product that is protecting their windshield from breaking, and then their windshield breaks, they're not going to be very happy, right?
Right. Oh, no.
And I don't think we have anybody that's upset about that. We're mindful. We obviously work in an industry that's already, that's very, from our side of things, like obviously we have competitors too, right? So we know how that feels, and we want to just make sure that we do right by everybody that that partners up with us.
Nice. So anybody interested can obviously contact you social media, but you said
Yeah.
they can inquire on the website, which I do want to point out is one of, if not the nicest websites I've been on. I mean, it's such a nice website. Whoever designed it and built it deserves a lot of credit, just because it's so clear and it's not overwhelming, and it's like you know exactly what the product is. It takes you through it, and like I love the website. So if you haven't gone to the website yet, whether you want to be a dealer or not, if you want to see what a good website looks like, go to the website, because it's a good website.
I'm 100. So
Tell me you built the
Danielle.
website.
Yeah, so Danielle, our technical writer, who is mind-blowingly brilliant in everything that she does. She absolutely slays it. My CEO, Kanjan, who has a lot of experience with coding. And then we have another gentleman that's worked with us on some design stuff. So very much a collaborative effort. I'm definitely going to, if they're not watching this, I'm definitely going to let them know, because they'll be really happy to hear that.
And it's especially important. It's not just a website. It should go to say, it goes to say like how you guys view your marketing, how you view, and that's going to transfer over to the consumer facing. Obviously the website is fairly consumer facing, but like also the paperwork, the samples, everything that goes along as a dealer, you can trust that, hey, these guys know what they're doing and know what good design looks like. So
everything that we release gets like, there's a lot of thought that goes into everything that we do. Even with like the new marketing material that we have, which anybody that wants to see it can contact me and I'll show it to you. Everything from the brochures to the banners to the posters to the t-shirts, like we are very, it takes us a long time to really get something like that we really all love. And I mean, I don't think that's a bad thing. I think it's important to make sure that you release something to market that, is going to benefit people. We have partners that are really awesome that, before we release something to market, we'll work with them and be like, hey, try out this new liner that we have, try out, this newer iteration of film. Maybe we've made a small adjustment. How do you like these brochures? Do customers respond well to them? Do you like the banner? Do you think you like it in your shop? Do you like the colors? Like, we get feedback from our partners as much as possible, because like they're the people using the product. Like, we don't know what their experience, like what they experience when they're selling it. I mean, like, I've been in shops and I've visited shops and I've sold to their customers while I've been there. But at the end of the day, like, you should be getting the feedback and input of the people that are using your product, right? That makes sense. And that's how we're going to be able to build this, and like how we have built this network and this brand that people always say, like, we hear really good things about you online. We hear really good things about the people that work there. We really like your website. We like your brochure, stuff like that. And really, I work with awesome people that are very intuitive and great at those things. But also, we have really awesome people that carry our product that are very intelligent and give us awesome feedback. And I'm super grateful for it. Like, I couldn't have been, known everything that I do right now if I didn't have that opportunity and that privilege, right? You can read all the stuff on the internet that you want to, but it's a little different when you're learning it from, the experts, right?
Mm-hmm. Yep. And in the comments, Justin agrees that the website's awesome. He said, that was my first thought when I checked them out a couple months ago. Justin Lee. And then Robbie asked, what about a home tinter, or does it have to be like a business? So as far as like vetting who can carry the product, is a mobile tinter that's maybe working just like mobile or from their home, are they possibly able to carry the film as well?
So this is the way that I look at that. So ExoShield is, you cannot tell ExoShield is on the windshield when it's installed. It is very clear. It's like 91% VLT. We have very low distortion and haze. It is virtually invisible. Mm-hmm. I know that most of the people that are in this industry are perfectionists. We have people in our network that do have shops out of their home, that do things mobile. You have to understand that you need to have a really clean space to install the film. So, if you're working within dealerships, if you're working within, maybe like we've got some installers that have really high-end clients that have beautiful mansions and like crazy garages that they install in. If you're installing, you know, from like you have a shop at home, like I understand that, and that's okay, but you need to understand that if it's a dusty or dirty environment, you're just going to be fighting with it the whole time, and it's not going to be a pleasant experience for you or your customer. Sure. So I mean, like I would say 95% of our network though are in a shop, or work in like a dealership or something like that. There's a pretty small amount that are mobile, mostly because they just know like it's a tough film to work with if you're mobile, right? It can't be installed in a driveway. Like it's just not going to work.
No grassy fields, no
outdoor
flea markets.
Like, yeah, it's just like it's just not going to work. And you're just going to be, you know, sinking money into something that neither you or the customer is going to have a good experience with, and like why would you want to deal with that, right?
Yeah. Cool. So I think if there's no other questions, or if there are, you can always leave them in the comments after. Marissa, thank you so much for joining. You know,
yeah, thanks for having me.
Super insightful. I feel like you answered a lot of, like, you've fast forwarded me. Now I feel like I know everything about it. I hope it was super valuable for everybody watching. Good. And awesome. Yeah, thank you so much.
Yeah, I mean, if anybody has any questions, like they can contact me too. I accept pretty much every Facebook request that I get now because I get so many of them. So yeah, reach out to me, let me know. Yeah, that's it.
Cool. So thank you everybody for joining us live. If you're watching this after we're live, you can still leave a comment. Marissa will still check them, I'll still check them and answer them. And then we'll be back next Tuesday for Tuesday's Tint Wizdom. It's a special Christmas Eve edition. And then after that, we'll be back next Thursday with Matthew from Naples Tint Company in Florida. So Marissa, thank you again for joining. It was
thank you so much, Eric. And thank you everybody for watching. Bye.
See you Tuesday, guys.